Welcome to another Liquid Bullet Productions, and today we've got Sandy Percival here, Ricky Percival's mum. Hi Sandy.
Hello, thank you.
It's nice to have you here today. Just want to speak a little bit about Ricky's case and what really went on and the miscarriage of justice that we all think that this case has. When did Ricky first become aware that the police were looking at him for Dean's murder?
I should imagine it was round about when it happened, I should imagine. I'm not really sure. I never really thought of anything about it. I only heard like because it's the end of my turn-in. So I'd heard about it, but as far as I knew, Ricky really didn't have much to do with Dean.
So obviously it came quite as a shock to Ricky once they were, because in the first original trial, it was conspiracy, wasn't it, that Ricky was arrested for, and it was Damon that was actually arrested for murder.
Yeah, well, everything pointed to, because Damon had the big thing with Dean, you know, he was the one that...
He thought obviously Dean was informing on him, didn't he? And obviously that was the relationship, was more between them two, wasn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, it's only things I hear because I'm really not into that sort of side, but I thought that Dean had actually sort of stolen things. That's what I heard from him, so that's why Damon wasn't. Yeah,
because I think there was an incident prior, wasn't there, where I believe Damon had maybe assaulted Dean.
Yes, 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 he was put in hospital. And
was that brought up at trial?
I don't remember that being brought up at trial, but we did sort of pursue that because, he was in hospital for a while.
It's quite a big thing if you've assaulted somebody previously quite badly.
He did, yes, for being, to be in hospital for a few days, yes, he was, that was definitely.
Now, at the first trial, I believe Ricky and Damon both had the same lawyer, and Blythe Cook. Now, how did that come about? Was that somebody Ricky had already used as a lawyer, or Damon?
Yes, they both had used her.
Both had used her already, so it wasn't that, because it's claimed that Ricky kind of suggested Anne Blythe Cook to Damon and was quite kind of insistent that they both used the same lawyer.
No, they'd both used Anne before,
Right, okay. So he knew what he was getting with Anne.
Yes.
Now, as well, I think John Black, QC, was Damon's counsel, and he was the one that asked Anne to recuse herself, was it?
Yes, that's what I was told, because then they'd both have individual...
A conflict of interest there. Do you think that was because John Black had already decided to go with Damon and change? I'm
certain of that. I'm not, I can't sort of say 100%.
Yeah, you can't say, but
that would have been the reason that we could, we surmised that had happened. Yeah.
Was that when the allegations came out about the lawyer?
Yeah, because she went to, because she had represented him just to sort of say, that she'd been told that would be the best way forward. And she was such a genuine lady, and she always thought Ricky was not the evil person that they made her anyway. So, she was very supportive to me as well, very nice person.
That's good. So it helps when you've got a lawyer you can trust and they're on your side. The other thing I was going to ask, there's not any evidence really against Ricky apart from Damon's say-so.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%,
So Damon was placed in the area or around where Dean was that night with phone pings, but there isn't anything placing Ricky there, or is there?
No, there was nothing to place Ricky there, and when you look into the trial, you'll see there were so many things that Damon said which were not feasible. You know what I mean? Which was overlooked. And
was this brought up at trial, was it?
Things were brought up, but to be fair, my team said there was not a case there, and they didn't see him as going down because there was no evidence as such. And they were all really quite... They didn't push things because they...
They thought it was gone.
Yeah.
Because there was no DNA.
No.
There's no eyewitness.
No.
There's no mobile phone evidence to put
No.
him in the area. But there's not even really a time of death there, is there, really,
No.
to narrow down?
The time of death really could have been 3 o'clock in the morning, which we actually got a firearms specialist we paid for to look at it, and he thought that the lady that's child was woke up at 3 in the morning was more
credible with the time frame
than a man that actually changed his story 3 times.
Yeah, this was the one that went out to Spain and refused to come back.
Yeah, and it was funny how he was wanted in this country, and then he ended up going out there, and then...
Yeah, that's right, but there was some sort of sexual assault or something, wasn't it? He was accused of.
But our police had gone out there to interview him, even though he was wanted in this country. Didn't make sense. And he'd lied so many times, and he changed his story 3 times.
Yeah, they always seem to rely on these witnesses that keep changing their stories.
Absolutely.
Or they've got something to hide themselves.
Yeah.
I mean, was there for all we know, it could have been, if you help us with this, with your statement, we'll forget that for you.
It seems to have been so much for our trial.
Yeah. I mean, it was unprecedented, wasn't it, what Damon did to be actually in the dock charged with murder, admit that he was there for his story, and then to be granted immunity. I don't think that's ever happened before then or since then.
And not only that, in Chelmsford Prison, a lot of the wardens used to say Damon's cell was like an incident room. He had the whole room plastered out, and he worked everything out. He was clever. My Ricky at that time could hardly read or write, because he had dyslexic. And it was sort of something that he didn't look at, and they all know. And there was a lot of wardens that were for Ricky, and all said that he was...
I seen there was a prison warden came forward.
Yeah, but they wouldn't let them.
It's like they've closed down every avenue that could possibly have maybe helped
It would,
Ricky.
yeah. And he had a few of the wardens that were sort of supportive.
I've also actually spoken briefly to someone who claims to have been on remand with Damon and Ricky at the time, and he says the same thing.
Yeah.
And the cell was full of paperwork, and he spent hours and hours just...
Yeah, he had all that he could work it out. To so many things that he could work out that was all worked around to his way of...
So he had plenty of time to sit there and build a story.
He had over a year.
Right.
Yeah. And everything, they sort of give him the money he got and everything, and sold his house and give him that and the car.
Yeah, because that could have been seized under proceeds of crime, isn't it?
I know.
You would have thought those things alone would have been enough not to believe him, or even once to get Ricky an appeal.
I know.
You know, when you look at the certain facts.
I know.
How did you get the conviction to begin with, and then why didn't you get the appeal?
And he committed perjury at a previous trial to get a shorter sentence already.
That's right. It was a drugs charge, wasn't
Yeah.
it? So he's got a proven record.
Proven that he's
criminals are going to have
absolutely,
a record, aren't they? So that one's a
Yeah.
bit kind of hard.
And his wife carried on with the perjury, and nobody wanted to help. We asked for help when I think MPs and that have gone away for perverting the course of justice. And a supergrass can, so all I suggest is become a supergrass and you get away with murder.
You get rewarded for it, don't you?
Away with murder.
Can I ask, why did Ricky help with the alibi? You know, when he was originally charged with the conspiracy, is it just...
Well, yeah, because he was Damon's mate, and he just thought that was it.
That's what they did.
They'd look after it. So yeah, he was definitely.
Because if he hadn't did that, he probably wouldn't have, been in the mix for Damon to then turn round and accuse him.
So he was a friend that stuck by a friend that was not a friend.
You don't need friends like that, do you?
No, definitely don't, no.
I was just thinking what else. The car crash in Spain came into it as well, didn't it? With the...
That was so, because that was entirely different. That was not one thing to do with... They tried to
link them, didn't they?
Yeah, and tried to make it to deal with drugs, and it was never anything to deal with drugs. It was somebody something that
Yeah,
happened.
it was totally
it's
different.
Completely nothing
But
to do.
it kind of came up round about the first appeal time, didn't it?
Yeah, which I believe had a lot to do with the police keep bringing it back.
Yeah.
Because so many times he had to leave and go to London, and then there was no case, no hearing or anything, which made hard times because he was put in, I'm sure it was Wandsworth, and it was horrendous that time. David Amis, who died, he was very, very helpful to me, and he tried, and he was the one that helped me get him back. To Dovegate. But yeah, so that was horrendous, that was.
Okay.
Because there was nothing there.
That is just
it was nothing to do with anybody.
They were throwing things out now just to try.
Yeah, because he could have died. Yeah, he was injured. Yeah, so the crash was because he had been stabbed and he could have died.
But they don't tell you any of this, and
no,
even when
they
you look
don't.
at the
they
news
make
articles,
it all to do with, and there was not one part of it that was to do with drugs. So I don't know why they tried to say that.
And obviously the Trenton shooting as well. Damon's put the blame onto Ricky for that
absolutely,
too.
100%. And I've been told that Damon actually left a card on the grave saying to Malcolm that, well, I've looked after you now, mate. Something to that effect.
Yeah, because obviously I know it was Malcolm
and we
Walsh's
just
murder
wished that the person had kept that card because it was
evidence, really. Could have maybe got a fingerprint or DNA or something.
Well, you could have gone by the writing,
yeah.
But yeah, so I've been told that as well.
Because I think the witness at court had said about the colour of the eyes and the build not being Ricky's.
Ricky's eyes are brown, and then they're sort of saying everybody's changing their story and all this and all that. So
do you think somebody was putting pressure on certain people? Because there was obviously allegations from both sides about, paying witnesses, jurors.
Oh yeah,
judge being biased.
Oh no, 100%. Even Andrew Bright, my lawyer, he said that he's never known a judge so biased, and he wanted to go off to Australia for things. So, and as I said, he had a juror in his chambers with nobody else with him. I didn't think they were allowed to do that. I didn't think the judge was supposed to have anything to do with the jury
as
at
far
all.
as I'm aware, the jury's not to be anywhere near the jury. They're not meant to be near anybody.
But that has been recorded because Andrew put it up, so he needed it, so that it was made a comment on it. And then the judge just said that he was going on...
so this was recorded in the court notes that the judge had spoke to the juror?
Yes, that was recorded. And then I wrote to the complaints and they said there was nothing that could be done about that.
What did they say was the topic or conversation in that
Oh, that was to do with him not being able to stay because of he had some commitment. I'm sure it's something like that. So it's 18 years, can't remember exactly.
Yeah.
But it was some sort of commitment. So, but he wanted to keep the same jury because they'd been through it. It was a 12-week trial.
A long trial.
Which was a long, long trial.
And again, they put that ring of steel around Ricky. Well, it didn't look good, did it? The armed police, the cavalcade escort to get there. It was like a whole fanfare, wasn't it?
Oh, and they put in the judge, when he's summing up, all his summing up was for Damon, saying like he was a family man, he had a child, he had commitments and all this and all that, whereas Ricky wasn't. So he'd changed and he'd done wrong, but so...
Yeah, there's lots of people out there that have got that and still do wrong. So
and you're never going to change him. He'd been like that from a young child.
Right.
But, yes.
Anything else legal-wise that I've not kind of picked up on that you would maybe like to point out to me just now?
Legal-wise, I think without appeals, when we've gone for that, all the legal teams that have been with us have been 100% not known a trial like it, because we have so many evidence, but they keep saying we've got to bring new evidence because everything they've dismissed what we've given, even though it's been proven that they've changed their story.
Because I know some police forces do use lie detectors here when they're kind of trying to make sure like sex offenders aren't doing what they shouldn't be doing.
Yeah.
So why can't we maybe not use it as court evidence, but they could have at least re-looked at the case for them.
Well, we wanted Damon to have it, but obviously he wouldn't want it. He didn't want to have it, no.
No. But I mean, what would have been good as well, though, now, and new evidence would have maybe been, well, where was Ricky's phone at the time? Was his switched off? When did it, you know...
Yeah,
if
we've got one person that actually, who was interviewed a few times, and he had changed his story. The police had actually said he's not a reliable person. And I've been trying to get Ian Mader to talk to us, and he won't. He said his life changed now, he don't want to have anything to do with it. But we've proven that he said that he had a phone call from Ricky threatening him or something. And
he said there was like 3 phone calls or something. There wasn't
and
any.
there was not one. There was no record of him on his phone ever having any correspondence with Ricky whatsoever. And Ricky don't know him from Adam. So why he's done it? And I got his mum, I found his brother, and they all said that they're not really, he's not close to the family, and he doesn't want to know, and he won't help, even though his mum would like him to help us.
Was this the same witness? The mum had said that he was meant to have offered money. Somebody was no, that was the thing.
No, that was a different one.
Yeah, because there's so many witnesses at the time that said one thing.
Oh no.
And then at the next trial they said another, and there was large sums of money being offered to lots of people.
Oh no.
Seemingly. I'm not saying there was, but that's like...
But no, this is what they all said. I mean, even with a warden in the prison, he sort of said something, and then they said that Ricky had offered him money and this and all that. And he said he wasn't offered it, and because he was going through a divorce procedure, they said he needed the money. So this is why they made it like he was.
So they weren't willing to take his statement as new evidence then?
No, wouldn't use it. So
I mean, what can you get now though, as new evidence-wise? That would...
Well, we don't know. The only one that we could get if he would come forward is the one that I just said. No. That he had said, because that is completely no evidence, because it's never been used.
It's the only thing right now
that we can find. Yeah, and we've had a hell of a lot of people looking. Really have.
That's. I mean, the system is really stacked against them.
It is, yeah. It is really.
Because how hard is it to try and find new evidence now? But especially when there wasn't really any evidence to begin with.
Exactly.
You know, to counteract. Yeah. You know, if somebody says you were on Tuesday night at 7 o'clock, you were at the bus stop. Yeah. You can fight that. You know, you can say definitely. But when it's like between this hour and this hour,
you can't.
And it's like, and you've got somebody saying he was there.
Yeah.
But that's the only evidence you've got.
Know.
I don't know how you can.
I don't know. And it's just so many things. It's just so.
So the CCRC, how have you found them when they've looked at the case?
And they've really looked into it, but everybody has sort of been with us, but they just can't find something new. Right. That's all they're saying, and I'm just thinking, well, how can we find something new when we've given you everything that has been inadmissible, and they've rejected it?
It is very hard to prove, though, isn't it? When somebody says to me, "Well, prove you didn't do something." Well, I didn't do it, so how? There's no way to, you know.
No, it's just really.
It's frustrating.
I mean, I am the DVD. I give you a DVD. I've give that to so many people, and that I write to, and you just put hand on heart and tell me after watching that DVD, you can say, without I mean, I was on jury duty, and they said you have to say without a fraction of doubt. You know what I mean?
beyond reasonable doubt.
Beyond reasonable doubt.
And when you look at it all,
and there's not, you cannot say hand on heart. There's that.
no. To me, even you've got no DNA.
No.
You've got no eyewitnesses. You've got no CCTV.
Even on the Tretons, Ricky was taken in and he was swabbed from head to toe, eyes, nose, mouth, eyes, nose and mouth. And Damon said he washed himself eyes as well with spirit, white spirit. Do you wash your eyes
For the
with white
residue,
spirit?
is it the...
Because they did not find one residue of firearms, and that was the next morning.
And how did they explain that away at court? Why did they just take Damon's word for it that he'd managed to clean it all away?
Yeah, because everything was dismissed in a lot of ways, yeah.
Yeah. It's a shame, isn't it?
And I just think, how can you wash your eyes? And especially when Ricky said they swabbed my eyes. Now, that would be in your eyes more than anything, wouldn't it?
You would think there would be a spec. I mean, gunshot residue is quite hard to get rid of, even professionally.
And one of them said they had glasses on.
Yeah,
So.
that's right, because I think that a couple of witnesses gave quite detailed descriptions of who the gunman was that came in, which I don't think fitted Ricky's description. The eye colour alone, the size, the build, the height, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Yet another case of going on Damon's word, isn't it, and
Absolutely.
nothing else.
Well, yeah, they just wanted it. I think he was helped along the way as well, personally.
So do you think Damon was told what to say by outside sources?
Well, I think he was helped with a lot of things, yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Do we know if he, I was going to say, do we know if he had any sort of visits whilst he was on remand from
I don't know,
police,
because he was taken away. He wasn't nowhere near after, you know,
The
when he changed his plea, he was taken to another place where I think he had all mod cons in there and everything, sort of thing.
And previous to that, you don't think there had been any visits going on?
Don't really know of any visits.
Maybe something we can ask Ricky or Danny if they know anything about that. Well, I think that's me covered everything that I was going to want to cover, so maybe get Leigh to jump in now and he can do his bit. He's out there being airy-fairy.